Latest on the native fishing dispute. In sports, the Eric Garland National Basketball Tournament's underway. Details after this.
Super Club Videotron, the video store, understands the needs of movie lovers in Fredericton. Tons of copies of movies, the best selection, and most of all, new releases always available. Super Club Videotron understands. So this week, they're offering you Life, always available or it's free. Get the details at your Super Club Videotron, 1221 Prospect Street East. Super Club Videotron, the video store. They always have something you haven't seen.
Topping our report this hour, a Fredericton City police officer has been fined $1,500 after being found guilty earlier today of driving without due care and attention. Constable Lou Lafleur was charged after a car pedestrian accident in August 1998 killed a young Bathurst woman. Lafleur was responding to an emergency call when his cruiser struck 18-year-old Allison Brown in the crosswalk at the intersection of York and Brunswick Streets. She died in hospital a few days later. In making his decision, Judge Erwin Lambert said evidence showed Lafleur was speeding with no siren on. And even though the emergency lights were on, the car was not equipped with lights on the roof. Lambert says even if Lafleur had a green light, he had ample time to avoid hitting Brown if he showed proper care. The judge also slammed the Fredericton Police Force for conducting an in-house investigation involving its own officer. Having said that, Lambert concluded a full, thorough, and objective investigation was carried out. Lafleur fought to hold off the tears as he addressed the court. He said it's been a very tragic year for his family and the Brown family. Lafleur said he wished he could take back that night, and he ended by expressing his heartfelt condolences to the Brown family. Lafleur will be able to keep his job. The department's communications officer, Corporal Dave Moore, says Lafleur will remain on the job with no penalty.
It's an unfortunate situation all around. Condolences to the Brown family, as well as Constable Furr's family. They've been through an ordeal, and there are no clear-cut winners in this, and all we can hope is that a lesson has been learned and that everyone involved, can put this behind them and hopefully carry on, and we can go about our job with Fredericton Police Force to serve and to protect.
In light of Judge Lambert criticizing the department for conducting an in-house investigation on its own member, Moore says the police chief stands by the decision. He says the department looks at each case individually. A 17-year-old Fredericton area girl who earlier pleaded guilty to impaired driving causing death has been banned from driving a vehicle in Canada for 5 years. The Gary girl, who can't be identified, has also been given 2 years probation. During the first year of probation, other than going to school, work, or a medical facility, she is confined to her house. No extracurricular activities are allowed. The girl was charged after a two-vehicle crash claimed the life of 16-year-old Lindsay Gillen of Majorville. Gillen was a passenger in the car that was involved in a head-on collision on St. Anne Point Drive in January. 2 men will face arson charges in connection with a fire earlier this month at the Royal Road Walking Bridge. Around 9 o'clock on the evening of October 3rd, someone set fire to the bridge, causing minimal damage. City police say a tip from the public led to the arrest of 2 men. The pair, aged 18 and 20, were picked up yesterday afternoon and released on a promise to appear in court November 24th. Police say they're also looking for 2 other men suspected in the fire. As word comes of more tolls on the new 4-lane highway between Fredericton and Moncton, the new Tory government is still promising to remove them by year's end. Warramukto-Gagetown MLA Jody Carr says the government remains committed to its promise.
Speaking with my colleagues that the negotiations are ongoing, and perhaps MRDC will put tolls on, but our new government will take them off.
Carr says negotiations appear to be on schedule to have the tolls removed within the 200 days promised by Premier Lord. Carr was a member of the anti-toll group Tollbusters before being elected for the Tories in the June election. Some non-native fishermen in the Halifax area say Ottawa should butt out. They're upset federal fisheries boats cracked down on a native vessel today, seizing dozens of lobster traps in Halifax Harbor. The 3 natives did not have new lobster tags, which are distributed by Ottawa to native communities and then passed on to individuals. Patrick Gray says the 3 natives had worked out an agreement with non-natives. Gray says the natives agreed to pull their traps today and only return to the water during the non-native fishery next month. Gray says natives and non-natives can often work things out, but he says having bureaucrats involved makes everything complicated. Meanwhile, after meeting with his provincial counterparts from Atlantic Canada in Ottawa today, Federal Indian Affairs Minister Bob Nolt said no decisions have been made about whether off-reserve natives have the same rights as those who live on reserves to fish year-round. Off-reserve Native groups from New Brunswick and Nova Scotia say it means they're being ignored. Walt says he hopes a formal process can be worked out soon for negotiating regulations governing the treaty rights of Atlantic natives. There's something new out there to fight road rage. It's a little device that lets someone else do the yelling for you. The next time someone cuts you off, a company called Hoopla wants you to reach for a little blue box called the Revenger 2K. Voice on the box will curse and hurl insults for you. Once you've run out of insults, you can press another button to hear the sound of weapons being fired, but it's just a self-stress reliever. The other driver can't hear what you're doing. 106.9 Capital FM.